But let's continue. Yeah, I made a cut here because there was a cutscene suddenly playing. But yeah, that one column has those rotary things and was a giant jumping puzzle. And I don't like it because I don't like doing jumping puzzles in this game. They were extremely clunky or extremely automatic. So I don't know if I will play New Game Plus. It's a good place to look. Oh, I can now go straight to the column itself. Yeah, and then the last one, the one with the bandits, it was freaking awful. I absolutely disliked that. Yeah, I know I can't go inside again. That's totally fine. But I can sit here and keep talking about what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the bandit one was an extremely strange and weird one. Having different enemies to fight was probably supposed to be the appeal of that thingy-magic. But to me it was not as interesting because everything that had humans inside would lag the game out of its mind. It was unbearable. The only fight I really had that lagged out when I fought machines was the last one, and I had the main characters of every major storyline with me there. So again, it was a fight with humans. I think even without them, it would have lagged a little bit since it were quite heavy and fast machinery that I was fighting. But yeah, I didn't even like the scenery it created. I should just go to the tall boy in this one. That is, I think, some of the best scenery in the game. I think now I can also just talk about tall boys, because I like this. Having a radio tower of sorts to reveal the map and stuff. A really neat idea. The only thing that like the Far Cry series is having too many, you know. But here you have like 4 or 5, and that's a really good and neat amount. So Plus the challenge to unlock the map is also not super difficult, since you only have to climb it and you're good to go. Where's the up guy thingy-magic? Left side?
Stocking up.
This reminds me of one of the major points, but that is when I talk about vision and stuff. Yeah, Turboys are awesome. In general, I'm a huge fanboy of Too Large Machinery. I mean, recently I talked about how many, what sort of films I like, and films like Pacific Rim are definitely way up there. Another one is, for example, Edge of Tomorrow, which also has a lot of exosuit mechanical stuff as a theme for its film. So yeah. So what is next? What I really like are quick events. At least I don't really know how to describe them. But when we were up here, was it up here? We had a mission to find something or to clear something over here. And then on the way back, suddenly Pitchcliff was attacked by Glinthawks. And then we had a little side mission that would unveil that someone was scrapping a lot of Snapmores because they wanted to snap more hard, and that made a lot of machine corpses that caused more Glinthawks to come to the area and trying to recycle used machinery. As you might notice, my favorite missions are the ones that are not bombastic, that are short-cycled, straight to the point, and not a lot of bullshit. And so, yes, my mind is completely blinking. 2 points that I want to tackle next are fighting for the resources in my head. So I'm mumbling and stumbling stuff about I don't need to worry, that I need to worry about. Man. Because I really do not like these last missions. Yeah, that I got from the Shadow Kaja over here. Like, the medicine guy was probably the best one. Yeah, I would have liked if I would need to go on a scavenger hunt, because I felt kinda bad. Because he said he was on the last of his medicine. And he doesn't want to waste his medicine because it's the last of his medicine. He wants it to matter. And that's why he's so stingy. So getting sent on a mission to gather the components that he would need to make that said medicine would have been nice. But instead I only needed to give him the heart of a machine. which then I did not find as compelling, because it's sure I overfarmed, I overfought, I overleveled, you know. The end level was like 30, 35, and I did it with level 53, so I had a way easier time. And the two times where I almost tried, I would have probably straight up dead it. And I really would have liked for freeing that small son dude, the child that was fleeing into exile, to be more to it, to be more difficult, because why would the high priest even be bothering with a fugitive in the mountains? And then you kill the first attack army, the second one, and then he's like, oh, now I bring my steel and weapons. Ho 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 ho. This is so dumb, so lame, and as I said, I knew nothing about that guy. Why he was even hunting this dude. What were his motivations? Later on then, at the very end, many hours later, I got some of his motivations, because he was one of the first that made contact with Hades. But in that moment, I could only guess what his motivations were. So, yeah. That was quite unengaging. Plus, I didn't really feel like I did something, you know? When I came to the city and the woman told me before, yeah, we are getting them out, we need to clear a path. I prepared everything. Like, sure, she told me that I would only have to guide them on the wilderness part. But if there was one more step to it, maybe recruiting a thieves guild of sorts to get to him, to get him out, and his mother, that would have been nice again. Maybe even have a betraying plot inside of it, or with it. Could have added a little bit more spice, but the way it went there, it felt lukewarm, especially the send-off cinematic, where you arrive at the sea gates, at the trader gates. Man, a 10-15 second frequency would have done the job. But then it went on and on. You were supposed to feel amazed, but all you saw was this plain bridge with 3 lamps. Bruh. Yeah, there was no amazement from the city, how grandiose that city is. And it just felt weird and awkward and out of place. So, yeah. What was the big bad thing I just wanted to talk a moment ago? I guess this is a point where we nitpick more about this story, because a lot of the information dump towards the end was strange at best. Was quite awful. I really hated the theme of Zero Dawn. Like I stated before, they get these researchers flown in all over the world, via express, and they the first thing they do, they kill all hope of their survival in this situation, which is fine. But then I get to these dialogues that are vaguely positive, or that are supposed to motivate you that your work will be worth something in the future. It even stopped and said, so what is this now? Is this the dialogue that is supposed to be for the new guys, the newborn, the childs of the future? You know, to teach them the story of the past? Or is this dialogue meant for one of these factory workers that are supposed to create that future? You know, to create those modules. It was so vague and non-specific. Because on one side they introduced them to that module, but on the other side they didn't talk. They talked more in an informative way. I even mentioned, like, they already solved the puzzle. Instead of saying, here we want to create, instead of saying, yeah, we want to create something and you are supposed to tell us how it's possible, they said, we want this and it's gonna be this. There will be nothing else possible. So they already solved the puzzle. The strangest one was with the fossil code. This is engraving data onto stones, basically. On the genetic code of stones. Or fossils in this part. I also didn't like the cowboy character. But that is more a me thing, that I cannot imagine someone that talks like that to be a smart scientist or neuromechanic or having to do anything computer AI related. Or even just on the engineering side. It's just something that I'm either not used to, or it's just something that never crossed my mind. So, like I said, that is more a personal thing. Put me off, but ain't too bad. But it feels a little bit like they needed this side person in this story to make jokes, to make it more relaxed. Yeah. And I guess the other points are what fed into the disarray. Is it disarray? No. That made the pieces fit even less together than it already were. So let's look at the map. Not that I'm forgetting something. I kinda wish that Shellwalkers would have better rewards, because they are sold to you with guys that these are guys that have really valuable things on their back, and even if I use this this farming arrow, you know, this one, to generate more scrap or something. Maybe I should just read it again. Even then, it contains additional resources. Even then, like, I would get like blazes and stuff and wires, like basic stuff. I thought there would be great valuables inside, you know. If I look into the resource cap, like something blue, something green and higher, not something like here metal urn, flowers, blazes, chill water, wires, sparkers. And I mainly, at least when I paid attention, I always was getting blazes out of their backpacks, which I do not like, you know. If I wanna farm blazes, I would farm grazers. Yeah, if I would wanna have a large supply of them, I would go to the hunting ground. Yeah, I think it's this one. Because there's even the challenge of shooting the blaze containers of the grazers as fast as possible, and then I would also farm golden suns, the reward chests of those. Yeah. Having something green or even something blue in it would have been way better. Not necessarily modifications. Like, I can see why having modifications in those canisters could be hurtful for the gameplay. Or unwanted. But in general, this farming arrow is a huge disappointment. Because even when I high tune it to max shredderness, you know, I could never one shot the stuff. 44. There. Yeah, I would triple arrow would reach about 300 damage. And I would triple shot the clamp that was on the backpack, and I would need a fourth or even a fifth arrow to unlock it, while I fire tear blasts, fire 2 tear blasts, and it instantly drops down, and I will have a similar reward plus the munitions, you know. Yeah, wire instead of echo shells. So it's equally expensive, or even more expensive, to use the harvest arrows for not that much of a reward. But hey, on the other hand, their entire arsenal of weapons, especially this tripwire caster, you know, I did not know how amazing this thing is till the hunting ground taught me or forced me to use it. Because I was already saying like, I have my thing, my method of fighting. I knew what to do, and it was slowly becoming monotone what to do. And then the challenge arrived and unlocked this whole new world of fighting robots for me. Which is then again something completely natural. I didn't have to read anything, and at the very latest, yeah, the hunting lodge mission I would have over here in Meridian would have forced me to learn that, or would have brought me to learn that. So there was even a failsafe for those noobs, for those dumbasses like myself, to have all the finger pointed to learn the different weapons. Yeah, and then of course I thought, yeah, electricity is the way to go. Just stun your enemy. Yeah, frost I was dodging for the longest amount of time. But once you freeze an enemy, triple damage. Bruh, and their movement speed is slowed, so you make even better hits. That quickly became my main go-to. Because I learned in games like League of Legends, if you just have this insane slow speed, it's almost like a stun. It even is greater infuriating if you just have your enemy not fast enough to catch you up and slow enough that you can do everything to him. You know? And then you get also a triple damage boost. Frost is easily the best support weapon in the game. Yeah, fire is okayish, I think. It's kinda hybrid between damage and crowd control, because in the moment it overheats, fire will make him shake in order to cool down, and enemies expose their cooling components or the parts that are overheated, and you can critically damage their main components. So you have additional damage and a little bit crowd control there as well as the fire ticking damage that those arrows cause. And but what I don't like about fire is how much the enemy shakes. So precision suddenly becomes a huge problem. You cannot target the systems you actually wanna knock off. So fire is a bit iffy. Electricity, like I just said, straightforward. Electricity is meant as a gate to knock down damage, where knockdown damage is not openly displayed. It's more like if you make enough physical damage, not terran damage. Yeah, physical one. These ones. Too much tearing. But yeah, is the 54, the basic raw damage, not terran. It will start overloading the system and knocking your opponent down, to either making it easier for you to get some extra shots in, maybe even against critical components, or to allow you a critical strike with your spear. Yeah, dealing massive damages. Or even the last way, once your enemy is knocked down, you prepare him to crowd control him more with either Frost, or what I like the most, Ropecaster. Getting to suddenly play with the Ropecaster, that was an entire different shebang, all of it in itself. The moment I learned how to use the Ropecaster was a moment as impactful as using the Tripcaster. Because suddenly I had an extremely easy way to crowd control my enemy, especially bird enemies. Like, sure, you would have to find that one moment where they are not hundreds of meters away from you, and maybe even in a flying dash attack. Yeah, and then you pin them down, and then they cannot fly away, so you have a good window where you pin him down with additional ropes until the ability clicks and completely ropes him down, which then, the same like electricity shock, makes him vulnerable to get enough physical damage in that he becomes stunned. It then again makes him more vulnerable to more damage than even a critical hit. Man, and I tell you what, this game really, really shines in the amazement. Oh, that would kill me. Let's go over here. Like, the first time, each time, like you learn to deal with the enemies that are ahead of you. You know, and then suddenly you deal with grazers, long legs, no, not long legs. What are the other ones that are similar to grazers? Watchers and scrappers. And then the first time you see a sawtooth, bruh, the game didn't even throw it against you. It was this giant corpse on a hillside, and you heard that the war chieftain brought it down.
Ouch.
And it became this amazing thing of you don't want to fuck with this war chieftain because she will fuck your day up. Because she can mess with this giant dude and bring him down. Wait. Ah shit, these are just scrappers. Where was he? There it is. And why is there no fire here? There's probably fire. Yeah. Yeah, I even see it. Yeah. But this sawtooth was this giant enemy, way larger than you. You do not want to mess with it because it has claws, it has fangs, it has this giant spiky structure. Yeah. You want to stay away from these boys. Everything about them tells you this. And even late game. So you passed by a sawtooth? You know that if you are not careful, they will rush you, they will slap you about, and suddenly you are stunned and dead in the ditches. Speaking of which, man, I always fucked up. Yeah. The same amazement you get when suddenly you are able to override these things and make them fight each other. Like, holy fucking shit.
Quiet now.
This is just fucking amazing. Of course he turns around and doesn't see him. What is my guy doing, eh? Come on, take aggro. Bro, I got ditched. I got hardcore ditched. Holy fucking shit. My guy probably jumped and went down that hillside. That's what I guess happened. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what happened. And then comes that moment. I look at an enemy. You are like, I have fought stuff of a similar size. He can't be too big. He's probably as big as a saber tooth, so I shouldn't worry too much. But the thing you forgot is, he is in the far distance. You go and you go and you go, and he's still away. He gets bigger and larger and charger, and then he blasts you with his missiles and lasers. fucking amazing how he even looks. Each time the game introduces a new opponent for you, it's always with a giant bang. A giant oh heh moment that just questions all of your decisions and how if you fought this even played this game right up until this point. Like, I remember the first time I encountered one of these boys, and like I just said, absolutely fucking ass blasted me. And the best thing is, you could shoot off all of his weapons, you know? His rocket launchers, his discs. But if you do that, he will charge you. So he is an all-rounder for all damages. Not elemental, but ranged and melee damage.
To start.
I'm gonna walk over here for a moment and let this play out. Because there's one more thing I need to talk about again in terms of machinery.